Coincidence? Feinstein employed Chinese spy for 20 years as her husband raked in millions in Chinese business, by Christina Layla for thegatewaypundit.com. New details were released this week on how California Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein had a communist Chinese spy by her side for nearly 20 years. Feinstein reportedly found out that her staffer was a Chinese spy in 2013 while she was the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Right, okay. The Chinese spy who worked for Senator Dianne Feinstein was identified on Monday night. The Daily Caller reported the name of the spy is Russell Lowe. Russell Lowe was Senator Feinstein's office manager, not driver. Right, from a lie from the get-go. Dianne Feinstein and her third husband, Richard Blum, who she married in 1980, made millions off of their financial interests in China. Surprise, surprise, right? Richard Blum made millions of dollars off the Chinese investments. His investments in China flourished after his wife, Dianne Feinstein, became a U.S. Senator in 1992. Feinstein traveled to China several times with her husband and even bragged to the LA Times reporter about being the first foreigner to visit mass murderer Mao Zedong's old residence where he died. The Chinese spy mysteriously appeared on the scene in 1993, just 1 year after Feinstein was elected to the Senate in 1992. Coincidence? We think not. Feinstein's husband investments in China have dogged the senator for decades. In fact, federal investigators detected that the Chinese government was trying to win favors with Feinstein. The FBI warned Dianne Feinstein in the mid-90s that China was trying to improperly influence her through illegal campaign contributions, reported the LA Times. That's what she wanted, just like Hillary Clinton. More from the LA Times. Previous report on Capitol Hill, Senator Dianne Feinstein has emerged as one of the staunchest proponents of closer U.S. relations with China, fighting for permanent most favored nation trading status for Beijing. At the same time, far from the spotlight, Feinstein's husband, Richard C. Blum, has expanded his private business interests in China, to the point that his firm is now a prominent investor inside the communist nation. For years, Feinstein and Blum have insisted that they maintained a solid firewall between her role as an influential foreign policy player and his career as a private investor overseas. Yeah, we're supposed to believe that malarkey. But such closely coinciding interests are highly unusual for major figures in public life in Washington, and now a controversy heats up over improper foreign influence in the U.S. political process. The effectiveness of the firewall between those interests could be called into question. You think? On Thursday, after he was interviewed by The Times about his China business, Blum announced that he will donate future profits from his personal investments there to his nonprofit foundation, just as Hillary did with the foundations, to help Tibetan refugees. Oh, isn't that nice of him? Nothing for the American people, but the Tibetan refugees. That's who he's going to invest in. This should remove any perception that I, in any way, shape, or form, benefit from or influence my wife's position on China as a U.S. Senator, Blum said. Do you hear this trash that he's spewing? In 90, why would he even marry the witch? Because she was a senator. You see what I'm saying? Who would marry that ugly broad? For business. In 92, when Feinstein entered the Senate, Blum's interest in China amounted to one project worth less than $500K, according to her financial disclosure reports. But since then, his financial activities in the country have increased. In the last year, a Blum investment firm paid $23 million for a stake in a Chinese government-owned steel enterprise and acquired sizable interest in the leading producers of soybean milk and candy in China. Blum's firm, Newbridge Capital Ltd., received an important boost from a $10 million investment by the International Finance Corps, an arm of the World Bank. Experts said that IFC backing typically confers legitimacy and can help attract other investors. Richard Blum's biggest investment, which was an estimated $300 million stake in Northwest Airlines, would profit from China's emergence as an economic power, reported the LA Times in a 1997 article. Blum made millions off his Chinese interests after Feinstein was elected to the Senate. Blum's biggest investment, an estimated $300 million stake in Northwest Airlines, is poised to gain from China's emergence as an economic power. Northwest operates the only nonstop service from the United States to any city in China. Blum earned in excess of $1 million from his Northwest holdings in 1995, according to Feinstein'S financial report. The potential for conflict between Feinstein's and Blum's parallel China interests increased after Feinstein was elected to the Senate in 92, and Blum formed Newbridge in 94 with more than $100 million provided by various investors who had to put up a minimum of $1 million to participate. Here's a more recent connection between Senator Feinstein and China the press has ignored. ZTE, the heavily sanctioned Chinese telecom company that paid a $1 billion fine to the U.S., hired its first in-house lobbyist in 11, none other than a former Feinstein aide, noted Benjamin Weingarten, a contributor for The Federalist. I sometimes say that in my last life, maybe I was Chinese, Senator Feinstein back in 96. How is it that everyone is ignoring the greater context? Her family's extensive political business ties to the Chi-Com's reference revelations of a Chinese spy in her office. Here's a more recent connection between Senator Feinstein and China the press has ignored. ZTE, the heavily sanctioned Chinese telecom company that paid $1 billion in fine to the U.S., hired its first in-house lobbyist in 2011, none other than a former Feinstein aide. Yeah. Richard Blum's investments in China ballooned after his wife Feinstein, a Democrat, was elected to the Senate in 92. Feinstein hired a Chinese spy in 93, only to see her husband's businesses flourish. It leaves very little doubt Dianne Feinstein accidentally hired a Chinese spy as one of her office managers and quietly retired him after others found out. You won't see this Richard Blum Di-Fi Chi-Com story in the mainstream media. The next shoe to drop, the FBI knew about this Chinese infiltration of Feinstein's inner circle, yet did nothing to stop it because they were told to stop it, and they were being paid off. And they're all Democrats. The corruption with the Democratic Party is astounding. That's why they hate Trump, because they're selling out our country, our things, in order to profit for peanuts in comparison to what the infiltrators are making. You see the difference? Like, for example, they're getting $1 million, let's say, for something, and meanwhile they're making $100 million. The Chinese are making $100 million of giving them. So that's what they're doing. That's what the Democrats do. That's what the Democrats are known for. Vote Republican. At least we're in a safer position, because these people will sell out our country for actually peanuts, when people want to infiltrate. And this is why. First of all, how did all this take place? It's so obvious. It's so obvious that they are doing it for their own profit. You know, it's all here. Like they want you to believe that, oh no, it was all on the up and up. Yeah, right. And see, coincidence? We think not. Anybody that would look into this, but the mainstream media is not going to be talking about this extra thing here, you know. They're not going to be talking about this. What spent 80,000 on U.S. lobbying in the first 6 months, and how they got 1 billion fine to the U.S. They were fined, yeah, because it was all a scam. Billion, in the billion they were fined. Okay, you see, you know, the corruption. That's all I have to say. I mean, you have to. You know, you have to have like an encyclopedia or something to keep up with all these facts, or some kind of journal. I mean, you can't even keep up with this corruption. It's all around. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.